The news has been making waves across the country, and today we are breaking down one of the most important announcements for millions of older Americans. Relief is finally on the way, and it comes in the form of direct payments worth $1,500 for seniors. For months, there has been growing pressure on lawmakers and government officials to take action as inflation, rising medical bills, and everyday expenses put an enormous strain on those living on fixed incomes. The newly approved relief program promises to ease some of that pressure, and in this script, we will go through exactly what this means, who qualifies, and most importantly, when those checks are set to hit bank accounts. For years, seniors have voiced their concerns about the rising cost of living. Basic necessities like groceries, housing, and healthcare have skyrocketed, leaving many retirees struggling to make ends meet despite decades of hard work and contributions. Social Security, while a lifeline for millions, has not always kept up with the pace of inflation. Even with cost of living adjustments, countless older Americans find themselves having to make difficult choices, such as cutting back on food, skipping medications, or falling behind on bills. This new relief package, therefore, arrives at a critical moment, and the $1,500 direct payment has the potential to provide much-needed breathing room. So let's dive into the details. The relief checks were approved after extensive negotiations, with policymakers emphasizing that seniors deserve targeted support. Unlike broader stimulus efforts of the past, this measure focuses specifically on older citizens, particularly those on fixed or limited incomes. The approved legislation outlines that qualifying seniors will receive a one-time direct payment of $1,500, with the funds delivered either through direct deposit, paper checks, or prepaid debit cards, depending on how individuals typically receive federal payments. Now, eligibility is one of the biggest questions. Who exactly qualifies for these relief checks? According to official guidelines, the program is aimed at retirees aged 62 and above who are currently receiving Social Security retirement, disability, or survivor benefits. In addition, seniors with lower annual incomes are prioritized to ensure that relief reaches those who need it most. Importantly, there is no requirement to file a separate application. Payments will be processed automatically using existing Social Security records. That means seniors won't have to jump through hoops or worry about missing out if they've already been receiving benefits. But what about the timeline? The government has released a detailed payment schedule, and this is where things get especially important. Based on the most recent information, payments will begin rolling out in phases starting next month. The distribution will follow the same staggered system used for Social Security payments, meaning that the exact date a senior receives their check depends on their birth date and benefit cycle. For example, individuals whose birthdays fall in the first 10 days of the month will see their payments first, while those with later birthdays can expect their relief a week or two after. This phased approach ensures that payments are processed smoothly and efficiently without overwhelming the system. Experts say this relief could not come at a better time. With inflation continuing to pinch wallets and Medicare premiums recently increasing, the added $1,500 could help seniors cover critical expenses like rent, prescription drugs, utility bills, or even stock up on groceries. Financial analysts also point out that while this may not solve every challenge seniors face, it sends a strong signal that policymakers are paying attention to the struggles of older Americans. For many, it represents not only financial assistance, but also recognition of the dignity and value of their contributions to society. Community organizations and advocacy groups have already praised the decision. Groups representing seniors argue that this relief should be the first step toward more permanent solutions, such as increasing Social Security benefits or lowering healthcare costs. Still, they welcome the immediate help, noting that every dollar counts for households on a fixed income. In fact, many nonprofits are gearing up to help seniors understand the rollout process, avoid scams, and make the most of their relief checks once they arrive. Another crucial point to consider is how this payment fits into the broader economic picture. Economists have debated the impact of direct relief payments on inflation, but the consensus around this specific package is that its limited scope, targeting only seniors, reduces the risk of fueling price hikes. Instead, the expectation is that the funds will provide direct support for essential spending without putting too much strain on the broader economy. Seniors are likely to use the relief responsibly, applying it toward bills, medications, and basic necessities rather than discretionary purchases, which makes this policy not only compassionate but also practical. As the schedule rolls out, officials are also warning seniors to be cautious of fraud. Historically, relief payments have been accompanied by a surge in scams, with bad actors attempting to trick vulnerable individuals into giving away personal or financial information. Seniors are being reminded that the government will not call, text, or email asking for banking details. The payments are automatic, and no action is required beyond continuing to receive Social Security benefits as usual. Looking ahead, the $1,500 relief checks are expected to provide immediate stability, but many experts argue that more comprehensive measures are needed to address the long-term financial insecurity faced by seniors. Advocates are calling for stronger protections against rising healthcare costs, particularly prescription drugs, which remain one of the largest expenses for older Americans. In fact, studies show that seniors spend a disproportionately high percentage of their income on medical expenses compared to younger adults, leaving little room in their budgets for other essentials. This relief program, while valuable, should be seen as one piece of a larger puzzle, and many are hopeful that it opens the door to more robust reforms in the near future. It is also worth highlighting the emotional impact of this announcement. For many seniors, the stress of financial insecurity goes beyond the numbers in their bank accounts. Constantly worrying about whether they can afford groceries, heat their homes, or pay for medications takes a heavy toll on mental health. The approval of these relief checks offers not just financial assistance, but also peace of mind, a reminder that they are not forgotten by their government. That reassurance can have profound effects on well-being, giving seniors a renewed sense of security and dignity as they navigate their golden years. At the same time, communities across the country are stepping up to provide additional support. Local senior centers, churches, and nonprofit organizations are preparing informational sessions to explain how and when the payments will arrive. They are also offering guidance on how to avoid fraud, create budgets, and use the relief effectively. Some community food banks and health clinics are planning to coordinate with seniors once payments are distributed, ensuring that funds go toward meaningful and lasting support. This shows how impactful the program could be, not just at the individual level, but also in strengthening community resilience. The rollout also raises important questions about equity. While the relief targets seniors receiving Social Security, there are concerns about those who fall outside this system, such as older adults who may not have qualified for benefits due to gaps in work history or citizenship status. Policymakers have acknowledged this limitation, and discussions are underway about how to address these gaps in future relief efforts. Advocates stress that no senior should be left behind, regardless of their background or circumstances, and they are pushing for additional programs that cover those not currently included in this round of payments. Another element drawing attention is the administrative process. Delivering payments to millions of people requires immense coordination between agencies, and officials are confident that lessons learned from previous stimulus rollouts will ensure a smoother experience this time. They have emphasized the importance of clear communication, providing seniors with regular updates on payment timelines and ensuring that resources are available for those with questions. Dedicated hotlines and online portals are expected to play a crucial role, giving seniors multiple ways to track their payments without confusion. Beyond the immediate benefits, there is also a broader discussion about the future of Social Security. Many see this relief as a temporary fix that underscores the need for strengthening the Social Security system itself. With projections showing that the program could face funding shortfalls in the coming decades, lawmakers are under increasing pressure to implement long-term solutions. The $1,500 checks highlight both the possibilities and the limitations of stopgap measures, serving as a reminder that sustainable reforms are necessary to protect future generations of retirees. On a personal level, stories from seniors are already emerging, and they paint a vivid picture of what this relief means. One retiree in the Midwest expressed a relief that she would finally be able to afford her medication without cutting back on groceries. Another senior on the West Coast said the payment would allow him to cover a backlog of utility bills that had been hanging over his head for months. These stories illustrate the real-world impact of the program, putting a human face on policy decisions that too often feel abstract. Economically, the checks could also stimulate local economies in a modest but meaningful way. When seniors spend their relief funds on necessities like food, gas, or housing, that money circulates within their communities, supporting local businesses and services. Economists predict that this targeted relief will have a stabilizing effect in many regions, particularly in areas with high concentrations of older residents. While it won't create an economic boom, it is expected to help maintain steady demand for essential goods and services. As with any new policy, there will be ongoing debates about its effectiveness. Some critics argue that a one-time payment, while helpful, is not enough to address the structural challenges facing seniors. They point out that without more consistent adjustments to Social Security benefits, seniors will continue to fall behind as costs rise. Others, however, view the $1,500 checks as a positive step in the right direction, a demonstration that government can act swiftly in response to urgent needs. Ultimately, the true measure of success will be seen in the months ahead as seniors begin receiving their payments and communities report on the outcomes. For now, the approval of these relief checks represents a moment of hope and progress. It shows that the voices of seniors are being heard and that concrete action is being taken to ease their burdens. While challenges remain, this announcement provides a sense of relief, reassurance, and recognition that is long overdue. Seniors can look forward to extra support arriving soon, and for many, it will mark the difference between constant struggle and a little bit of stability in their daily lives. The message is clear. Help is on the way, and it could not come at a more critical time.